How's it going, Bucs fans? Rachel West here along with Rick Stroud and Joey Knight. And guys, we've got a big division matchup this weekend, Bucs versus Falcons. And Joey, we know the Falcons' game plan essentially is to run, and then run some more. They're fourth in rushing yards in the league. Bucs have not been so good here as of late in stopping the run, so what's got to change?
Well, the Bucs have to stop the run better than they did last week against Kansas City when they allowed nearly 200 rushing yards, and this is going to be a tall order for them. The Falcons kind of reinvented themselves after Matt Ryan left for the Colts. They've got Marcus Mariota, whose passing numbers are not good. You remember him, this number 2 overall draft pick behind Jameis Winston back in the day. But he can run. He's mobile. He ran for 72 yards against the Falcons in the opener on only 12 carries. So they can do some stuff with him with the bootlegs and the waggles, and they will jet sweep with their receivers. And Cordarrelle Patterson, their kind of dual threat, is not going to play in this game, but they've got some backup running backs that you've never heard of that were very effective last week against Cleveland. Guys like Tyler Algier from BYU, a converted linebacker. Caleb Huntley, a practice squad call-up. Those guys were very effective because they do a lot of different things in the run game. They mix it up. It's diverse. It's not the wing T. They mix things up, and the Bucs are going to have to be ready for that, and I think they will be. But this is a team that, is going to come in and try to control the ball and assert themselves on the ground. The Bucs have to be ready for it.
And speaking of the run game, Rick, the Bucs run game, that also hasn't really taken off quite yet. So what do they got to do there to get that going this week?
Well, it's a great question because after the Dallas game, they've not run the ball at all. I mean, they're 31st in the league in rushing, which is not where you want to be, just over like 63 yards or so a game. And really it comes down to the offensive line. They've not played well. We know they got some new players up there, whether it's Luke Gedeke or Robert Hainsey. They're not getting on their blocks. They're not getting much from the tight end. Cade Otton has to do a better job. And really, I think this team needs to get back to what it was, and that is they threw the ball down the field well against Kansas City. It's a lot like last season, or 2020 rather, when Kansas City came in here. They got beat in a game that was just a field goal difference but wasn't that close, and they threw the ball down the field. And I think if they keep Chris Godwin, they keep Mike Evans on the field together, maybe attack a little bit more, that will open up opportunities for them to run the ball. Because right now, teams are just loading up and they're not making it easy for them at all.
Right, and to go off of that, they did get Godwin back, Evans back last week. Julio Jones, we'll see if he's able to go this week. Yeah. But just how important is that to be able to be two-dimensional and not be so predictable?
Well, it's huge, and I think that Mike Evans has more touchdowns against the Falcons than any team. I think he's had 10. Chris Godwin has 9 against them. So if you remember a year ago, Godwin had 15 catches in Atlanta. So this is a team that they've had a lot of success throwing the football. Tom Brady has to trust his protection, but if they get man coverage, they're going to beat it. And it's just a matter of keeping guys healthy. We don't know about Julio Jones. We think Russell Gage will play. They need to develop a third receiver. But for right now, what this team can do is throw the ball to Mike Evans and throw it to Chris Godwin. They got to do that.
And Joey, to go back to you kind of on the same topic of health, you mentioned earlier the Falcons will have Patterson out. Kyle Pitts hasn't practiced at all this week. So how much kind of is that a break for the Bucs, and how much will that hurt the Falcons?
Well, you got your 2 best offensive weapons in the Falcons who are sidelined. That's obviously going to help the Bucs. Patterson tried to grimace his way through the end of that game against the Browns last week, and since then he's been put on injured reserve. And Kyle Pitts, the former all-world tight end for the Gators, he's I believe it's been a hamstring issue. He hasn't practiced all week. He's not going to play. Receiving options, they've still got Drake London, the youngster who they drafted, who's very promising, but their options are limited in the pass game. However, if they can run the ball effectively, the Bucs still have to respect the play action. This is the NFL. So the whole key is just shutting down this run game, which they were not able to do last week against the Chiefs. That's the whole key Sunday, so we'll see.
Yep, and the Bucs are definitely hungry for a win at home here. They're still winless in Raymond James, so we'll see if they can get that done. Julio Jones, Russell Gage playing their former team. I'm sure they'll be hyped up for that. Make sure you guys are keeping up with all of our Bucs coverage that we got for you over on social media at Sports by Tampa Bay Times, as well as over at tampabay.com.